Decaf-Math, and welcome if you are new here. So today I wanted to take a look at our 4 basic operations from arithmetic. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But instead of doing problems with each, like what is 2 plus 4? Well, I guess we can sneak one in. What is 2 plus 4? 6. Very good. But instead of doing specific problems like that, I wanted to zoom out today and just try to capture the essence of each one. So by that I just mean we'll be brainstorming together, so there's no one way to do it, but I wanted to take the time to try to capture the logic behind each of these. And I hope that it's particularly helpful for those of you who get intimidated by word problems, which you're definitely not alone. Trying to take like a paragraph for the first time, to take a paragraph and boil it down to the math behind it can be really intimidating. So I thought that this is kind of working the other way, is taking each of these and trying to play around with like trigger words or concepts behind them to really capture the essence. So I'm just going to be trying to like describe them, maybe some common problems that involve them, something like that. And I am just coming up with them on the spot right now because sometimes when you're trying to describe something, it's better to not think about it ahead of time. You just kind of get the intuition, which is not really so much from the headspace, it's from your gut feeling. So I hope that this is helpful for those of you who want to practice word problems, and maybe you're preparing for the SAT. And so this kind of applies for algebra as well, right? Algebra and word problems. And when people say math is logical, this is what they really mean. So we're gonna take a step away from calculations, instead zoom out for some more perspective. And I hope that this kind of sort of plants a seed in that conversation for future concepts. So if you have suggestions or your favorite ways to approach this kind of stuff, definitely let me know down in the comments, and maybe I can compile ideas together in one place somehow. So before we get started, I wanted to make a quick little shout out to Sleep Stories ASMR. She's such a lovely lady, an amazing artist, and is so creative. So if you want some really relaxing and fun-loving videos, go check out her channel. But she bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. So in a way, she's our sponsor for this video, if you even want to say that. But I'm really grateful, and I want to send her some love. So let's see here. For adding, so adding and subtracting kind of go hand in hand, but adding, the first thing that comes to mind for me is more. And again, you don't have to like memorize these words or anything, we're just playing around with them. But more, and then for subtract is like less or take away. Less, take away, or give away, that kind of idea. Okay, so more, like 2 more than 5 would be 5 plus 2, right? 3 more than x is x plus 3. Same with less, like x take away 5, x minus 5, right? Or 6 less than 2 is 2 minus 6. Even if that's negative, that's okay. You see what I mean? But when we use that as an essence, it might not, like in a word problem, it might not specifically say more or less. You might have to interpret the question. For instance, if Alice is 10 years old and Bob is 4 years older than Alice, then how old is Bob? So if Alice is 10 and Bob is, what did I say? I can't remember, but I'll just say it now. Bob is 4 years older than Alice. Then how old is Bob? Bob would be Alice's age, 10 plus 4. So 14. So just because it says older doesn't mean that we won't know how to do it. It just means that he is 4 years more. His age is 4 years higher. It's like that kind of idea, you know what I mean? Like 4 years bigger than the 10 years that Alice is. So if, if Timmy is T years old and his younger sister is 4 years younger, it would be T minus 4. Right, so older and younger, or I have 10 cookies and I'm giving away 5 of them. How many do I have left? I have 10 take away 5. Does that make sense? So stuff like that, having some more, having some less, and phrasing it in that way. And for multiply and divide, they also kind of go hand in hand. The way that I think of it is multiplying is like, it's kind of a weird way to say it, but it's like each. But I have to clarify what I mean by that. Each is in the context of, if I have, let's say I have 5 cows. Okay, and each cow has 4 legs. So each of those cows has 4 legs. So how many legs do the 5 cows have in total? That would be 5 times 4. And that's because you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cows. Each one of those cows has 4. So it's 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 for each of those 5. So it's 5 times 4. And when you know that multiplication and division, or multiplication and addition come hand in hand, because multiplication is, adding the same number a certain number of times. So 5 times 4. That's how I like to think of them. And also in some contexts you would say of, maybe, right? So not just each, but also of, like, especially with fractions, right? Like half of something, or a third of 24, a third of a class of 24, let's say. So a third of 24 would be 1/3 times 24, which then would be 8. Right, so of, or you can say, like, if you have 2 of something, so let's say 1 of something is just x, 2 of something is 2x, right? So something like that, I like, sort of unconsciously, I'm already making this kind of gesture. It's like you start with something, each of them has something, so it like multiplies out, right? Multiplies out. So let's say, I don't know, the picture I like to think of is just this, and then each branches out. don't judge me. You might think I'm so weird after this video, but you have 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Each of those have 4. So in total, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I like pictures probably because I grew up bilingual. Actually multilingual because it's both Mandarin and Cantonese in my household. And I learned Spanish and of course learned English, and so I sometimes I am not good with words, but so I just kind of capture the logic and go like that. So if you're anything like me, I get you. But also for multiply, you have literal like twice or quadruple, like words like that, 2 times, right? So twice or double, or quadruple is 4 times, that kind of stuff, right? Or thrice, whatever, right? So double the number of something. So let's say x is our original thing, twice x is 2x, 2 times x, but in algebra you don't put the times, just 2x. So that's that concept. And then divide is the opposite. I'm already thinking of like splitting it up into, kind of goes this way, so splitting into groups, maybe grouping, splitting into groups. So I like to think of it, so let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're splitting into, either you could say groups of 2 and see how many groups you have, or if you're going to split into 3 groups, how many are in each. So that's why I wanted to focus on elaborating on when I said each, what that means, right? In this case, I mean you're splitting these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objects into groups of 2. So then you would have 3 of those groups. Okay, right? So something like that. And again, when it comes to the word problems, focusing on the essence of these, which one am I doing? For stuff like this, if I were to say, for instance, miles per hour. So let's say I'm driving at 60 mph, miles per hour. You don't have to memorize necessarily. You don't have to memorize all your formulas, like distance and rate times time, that kind of stuff. You can, but the essence of it is it means miles per hour. So for each hour, per hour, each hour, I go 60 miles. And it might sound like I'm just saying that over and over again, but it's literally each hour. So after 2 hours, each hour. So after 2 hours, I went 1 hour plus 1 hour. So in the first hour, 60 miles. In the second hour, 60 miles. So I went 2 times 60, 120 miles. See, so that's what I mean by the each. Even if it says 60 miles per hour, it's miles per hour, each hour. So if I give you the number of hours, then I am multiplying. See that? Multiplying. So I hope that that kind of makes sense. If you have like a specific word problem involving these that you kind of want to go over, we definitely can. And I also just kind of wanted to point out that multiplication and division, remember, are reciprocals. So if you say like Bobby is B years old and Candace is half Bobby's age, you could do half of Bobby's age, so half times B, or just half B. But if you're saying like half of that, that's the same as saying B divided by 2. So half B is the same as Bobby divided by 2, Bobby's age divided by 2. So especially when it comes to algebra and translating word problems that involve some kind of algebra, make sure you write out what your letters stand for, what your variables are, and what they mean to you. So like let B equals Bobby's age. Okay, so they're just letters that are like a placeholder, so that when you write these expressions, make sure that they make sense for what's given in the question. Anyways, I hope that this wasn't too like redundant. If anything else, I hope that it was relaxing to just hang out with me. But especially when we're coming back and revisiting math after a long time, it can be just really intimidating and feel like, wait, everyone else seems to get the basics. What am I missing? So do not worry about anybody else. This is just, we're starting fresh. We're just here right now. And I hope that you enjoyed this. I will see you soon again for more random math. I'm kind of still just jumping around at different levels, so if you have requested something, please do be patient with me. We've only been doing this for, I think it's been less than a year, so we'll just keep moving forward, and I will still mix between soft-spoken and whispered and abstract stuff and more specific practice problems, and we'll just keep having fun. So I will see you around. I hope that you're doing very, very well, and thanks again to our lovely sleep stories, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.